morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Stogan. How are you today?
Excellent. It is good to see you.
You too. Good. Thanks for having us back again. So,
Absolutely.
guys, thanks for having us in the classroom.
you so much.
We're going to switch it up a little bit this week or this month with speakers. Normally, I'm bringing in speakers who have made poor choices in their life. I thought towards the end of the school year, this would be something a little different. I don't know if you guys have your career path set or what you want to do, but what I have is two men that I'm bringing in from the United States Army.
Wow.
And Sergeant Turner and Sergeant Hufford. Sergeant Turner has been with me the past 2 summers and will be with me again this year. And Sergeant Hufford will be there too at the Youth Police Academy. And so that was when we first met, when himself and Sergeant Weaver asked to come out and help with this program. So I think they're amazing men, and I would like you guys to listen to them. They're going to talk about their life growing up. They're going to talk about their career path. And the purpose for bringing them is, if you don't have a career path, this is something I want to throw out there that is also available to you. So with Sergeant Turner, if I could turn it over to both you and Sergeant Hubbard.
No problem.
Please come on.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing today? So I'll try to be as entertaining as I can. All I ask is to give you some attention and be interactive. I don't like to just talk. I probably ask you questions. Throw up a hand if you got an answer. There's no right or wrong questions when I try to talk. I try to make it involved. So everybody's here for a reason, right? Whether that's to graduate high school or just get the heck out, right? Show of hands, please. Who here's ever been in trouble in any way, shape, or form in life? Probably everybody's hand up here, if they're being honest, right? Except for the crazy Cowboys blanket, go Eagles.
I'm an Eagles fan.
And you're using that. That's
Yeah,
a
it's
horrible,
not
horrible thing. Drafts tonight, come on. So I want to talk to you a little bit about myself. Please do not hold the fact that I'm a Truman Tiger against me. I know I'm our tribal in this. My name is Jared Hufford. I was born and raised in Northeast Philly, and I actually moved up to Croydon when I was about 13 years old. I went to FDR, and I went to Truman High School. I didn't get to graduate up here because I fell into some trouble while I was in school. A little of my own fault, some of it being because of my situation, my surroundings. When I was about 15, 16 years old, my dad had a lot of back problems and he had spinal fusion surgery. Does everybody know what Percocet and OxyContin are? Okay, so Percocet and OxyContin, for those of you who don't know, are extremely heavy painkillers that are very, very addictive. Has anybody ever heard the word or the term like roid rage? People who take steroids, they like hulk up and they like get really angry and aggressive out of nowhere. Percocet OxyContin on the type of doses my dad was taking, it causes very similar effects. My dad became very emotionally, mentally, and physically abusive towards me. You can see I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I stand all 5'4", 145 pounds. Back then I was maybe 5 feet and maybe 110. Dad was about 6 foot and 190 pounds, give or take. So you can imagine he was a little stronger than me. My dad got his little roid rage moments, and he took a lot of strikes at me. He used to he went after me. He'd hit me, and not just, hey, smack across the butt because you were being disrespectful, just because. Finally, I lost my cool with my dad putting his hands on me, and I finally struck him back. And I wound up splitting his ear open. I was arrested by the Bristol Township Police Department. I was sent to Doylestown. I spent the night over there. My mom was living in Florida and hadn't really been a part of my life or anything at that point. Well, she was my one phone call, and she wound up getting me out of jail the next day. It was good. I wound up having to move to Florida to finish things because of the situation I put myself in. You know, my dad put me in. Who here has a plan? Like, everybody here is probably, what, 16 to 18 years old, give or take, right? Who here knows exactly what they want to do when they get out of high school?
I want to be a dermatologist.
Dermatologist.
I want to go to the military.
You want to go to the military? You saw, can you get your hand up?
I'm gonna get my CDL license.
Okay, CDL. It's awesome. One of my buddies got that when he got out of the military. The military paid for him to have it, so he's working out there doing that. 18-wheeler, making a good living again. So that's 3 out of maybe, what, 15 people here who know exactly what they want to do, who have an exact plan, right? So I moved to Florida. I finished high school. I still didn't really have a plan. Who here, everybody been told you have to go to college? It's the only option. You need to do this before. Somebody's been told that. I was told the same thing. So I went. Not really sure what I wanted to do, and I drove myself into a lot of debt. Wasn't really sure how I was going to pay for it all. And I wound up, after only a couple of years, I was $15,000 in debt while I was working crappy retail jobs, trying to just keep gas in my car to get to school. and trying to keep food in my stomach and pay some rent all at the same time while I'm trying to have a full-time education. The state of Florida helped me out with a little of it, but not enough, because clearly 15 grand is a good amount of money, right? Fast forward a couple years, I dropped out of school and was just working to support myself full-time, trying to work 2 jobs if I could, make that money to get myself out of debt, struggling. I was working at Target. It was the last job I had before I joined, and my best friend, he was working loss prevention in there. He was making about $20 an hour, which was really good for a kid in their early, 20s at that point. And one day we're sitting there eating lunch, just talking. He's like, "Dude, I'm done." I'm looking at him like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Scott, what's up?" He's like, "No, I'm done. I can't do this anymore." He's like, "I'm joining the Army." I look at him wide eyed. I'm like, "I've known this kid since I moved to Florida, one of my best friends." And he's like, "Yeah, I can't do this. I need to make a change. I need to do something with my life that's going to get me in the right spot." And I was like, "Dude, I could never do that. I don't have it in me to go join the Army. It's not something I could ever do." And okay, that's pretty much where that conversation ended. About a week later, we sit down again, we're having lunch. He's like, "You sure?" And I just out of nowhere, he says, I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You sure you can't do this?" He's like, "Because I'm signing up. I'm enlisting next week." And I'm like, "You know what, I'll play your game. I'll go talk to your recruiter. Let's see. Let me see what's up." That day after work, me and him, he drove me down. I met Staff Sergeant Howard. About an hour after talking to him, I was sold. I was like, "Okay, you know what, I'm ready to make a change. I'm ready to do something that's not going to require me to dig so deep." I was working like 3 a.m. that morning is when I woke up to go to work at 4. And yeah, I actually wake up later than that now with the Army. Everybody thinks it's early. I was like, no, decent life. But I was tired. I was like, this is what I want. 2 days later, I took the ASVAB. Got a score. A couple months later, I was out in basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Here I am 5.5 years, 6 years later from that point, soldier in the Army back home, to talk to people about my life experiences, the things I went through, the things that shaped and molded who I was. I don't like to say the phrase, "I'm a self-made man," because I've had help from friends and other family members through life, but I like to think that to an extent I am. I didn't have a great support, obviously. My dad, with everything he put me through. My mom being so distant in a way up until I needed something to finish school. I, built myself back up from a bad situation, rebounded in a big way, that here I am, a grown man, living my life, living a dream, and taking care of everything that I've ever wanted to take care of. I have what I would ever want. So it's a big thing in that, is that you don't be defined by what your past gave you, but you can define who you're going to become by your own choices.
All right. I'm Sergeant Turner. I was originally born and raised in Southern California, so the Army gave me the experience to come out here to the Northeast and experience a completely different lifestyle. But where I grew up in Southern California, I was actually a minority over there. A lot of Hispanics running around over there, and I grew up in kind of a decent, kind of whatever area. But throughout the whole time I was in high school, I was just that guy. When I was in high school, I got in trouble a couple times, arguing with the teachers, all that, craziness. But it wasn't until I got out of high school that reality set in, and I was like, man, I really need to do something with my life. And joining the military was always something that I thought about doing, but it wasn't something that I knew how to pursue, for one, and if I was really sure if I wanted to do it. So I ended up working at a tire shop, and I was making pretty good money. I was making like 15 bucks an hour. And does anyone in here have a job right now? Anybody? What do you do? I'm sorry? You're a maid? Okay. Who's got a job over here? What do you do? Cook. You're a cook? Do you like your boss? Yeah? Alright. My boss was a dirtbag. I hated this guy, right? And one day he came up to me and he's like, Keith, you're doing a really good job. One day you can be manager, just like me. And I remember looking at him like, bro, you're a dirtbag. I do not want to be like you. And then that was when I realized that what I was doing in my life at the time wasn't cutting it for me to be successful. So that's when I made the decision that I need to go talk to a recruiter to figure out what I need to do to get in the Army. I basically ran in there and was like, what do I got to do to get out of here? And he said, slow down, guy. You got to take a test. You got to make sure you're qualified. And you got to go take your physical and all that fun stuff. So, long story short, took the test, did whatever on the test, didn't study a lick of anything to get in, and I got a decent score, good enough for me. The job that I wanted to do, really, really bad, I was fortunate enough to qualify for, which was the military police. So I enlisted in the Army, and 3 weeks later, I was off to training to earn my title as a military police officer in the United States Army. Now, the crazy part with this story is I never involved my family with what I did. I ran off, did stupid things with my friends, all that good stuff, didn't leave my family involved. And I enlisted after I enlisted 3 weeks later is when I went off to training. And I didn't tell my family nothing. About a week before I left, I'm like, hey Mom, this is kind of crazy, but I'm leaving. She's like, okay, cool, where are you going? I said, I joined the Army and I'm going to be gone. And she like freaked out. And anyways, that was a bad decision that I made because it's important whether you have parents, family members, aunts, uncles, friends, whatever, to keep the people that are close to you in your life to help you make decisions and the right decisions. And that can be anyone, like I said, family members, friends. You definitely want to surround yourself with people that are trying to do something better for themselves. Because if they're doing something better for themselves, you kind of latch on with them too, you're going to both be going up. It's important not to surround yourself with someone that's always talking down to somebody or always being down, you know. Anyways, long story short, go to basic training, all that fun stuff. There I am, 18 years old in Germany, first duty station, active duty. So I'm 18 years old, running around Germany, having all the fun you can think of. When I first got there, they said, don't get too comfortable because we're deploying in Afghanistan in about 8 months. All right, cool. That's what I joined the Army to do. I wanted to deploy. I wanted to go over there, hang out, do what I got to do for my job, and it was a good experience. It's something I can never replace, never forget. It's not all bad. It's not all what you see in movies. I made a lot of really good friendships out there with the other soldiers I was with. We did a lot of humanitarian aid missions. I can't tell you how many bags of rice I've delivered to villages and stuff like that. And we got this one operation called Operation Beanie Babies, where we're literally like giving little kids beanie babies and stuff. It's pretty cool. But anyways, I've been able to make myself successful because of the decisions I decided to make or not make, if that makes any sense. It kind of made sense in my head, so I said it. But what I'm saying is, every day you have an opportunity to make a decision, whether it's a good decision, a bad decision, a crazy decision, an impulsive decision, whatever the case may be. But it's up to you to surround yourself with positive opportunities to make yourself a better person tomorrow. Alright? Because I'll tell you right now, I don't want to hang out with myself who I was yesterday. You know, 'cause that guy's dirtbag. This guy today is way better. But does anyone have any goals or ambitions that they want to accomplish? And do they have a plan on how they're going to get there? Anyone? No? Grantham, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Come up here. I'm going to put you on the spot because I know. Ooh. What do you want to do? In life, in general. You just walked in, you're perfect, you're fresh meat. I already know who you are. Tell us what you want to do in life.
I'm doing infantry.
Yeah? Okay. Now, what have you done so far in order to make your dream a reality?
I figured out what I need to do to graduate next year.
Okay,
and I've already started talking to Central Cal, so I can get the game on.
Perfect. Alright, so, like I said, he had a goal, and it could be a big goal, a small goal, or whatever, but he had to sit down and reevaluate himself to figure out what he needs to do to attain that goal. Now, I'm not putting him on the spot, I'm not making an example out of you or anything. You just happened to walk in and I knew your face, so I said, come on up. But he's been able to figure out exactly what needs to happen in order for him to become the infantryman that he wants to be. What's something different that you would have done 3 years ago to change who you are today?
Probably focus more in school.
Focus more on school. Okay. Makes sense. I didn't pay attention at all in school. I barely did my homework, if I did homework. And to be honest, I don't even know how I graduated. I just kind of scooted on through. I guess I was decent enough that teachers liked me or something. I don't know. We have seen. But other than that, does anyone have any questions about like basic training or job experience or what the weather's like or something crazy, I don't know, questions about
Cloudy
anything.
today.
Yeah, you're right.
Was it
So-
hard?
Is it true that you can't join the military if you have tattoos?
Absolutely not. I have no tattoos just because that's just me. You can't take color, but you can have tattoos to join the army. The only difference that it makes is you can't have tattoos above your hands, so basically not on your hands or on your neck or your face. That's basically the stipulations on tattoo policy for the army.
2 more on the legs.
The policy was different a while ago to where you have to be able to cover with your hand, but that went away because we found that that was silly to have a policy like that.
Was it hard, I heard? Honestly, no. It's a mental game. Are there difficult days? Are there long days? Are there draining days? Yes, 100%. Is it the most fun and rewarding experience I've ever done though? Yes. We were talking earlier today, and so in basic training, you're surrounded by like 40, 50 other people that you spend every single day. You start off, you look at them, okay, you're wearing the same thing as me, who are you? 2 weeks later, hey man, how's it going? You good? Come on,
Good.
let's get out of bed, let's go.
All right.
No, it's raining, we gotta do PT. 2 weeks later, bro, come on man, let's get out there, it's PT day, let's have some. You go from not knowing anyone, because you're from around the world. I went to basic training with people from Iraq, from Afghanistan, from, where was he at? There's another one in the Middle East. Jordan, excuse me, thank you. And then we had another guy from out in, actually he was from China originally. So when I say around the world, people come to the United States to serve the Army, it's true. And you became brothers and friends with them from those type of things. Basically, it's amazing. 3 days into basic training, I jumped off a 50-foot wall. I rappelled down a 50-foot wall, something I never thought I could do. Same, Sergeant was talking about it before. And you have a rope tied around your waist, it's called Swiss seat. You have a rope that controls the movement. And your back is flat facing the ground. So you can't see the ground, you're looking up at the sky at this 90-degree angle. And I'm like, drill sergeant, I can't do this. I'm shaking, my knees are on the wall, wobbling. I'm like, I can't do this. And he's like, just jump, Hufford. I'm like, okay, Roger. And I went like that. I took like a 2-inch hop. And I realized how quick though that I controlled everything that was going on with the ropes. Because like, it was a break, that back hand is a break. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't so bad. So I like kind of came in like this and did this huge jump. I went like 20 feet on the next jump. And I was like, and I like get out like wee the whole way. Like a little kid, it was just great. And then the next one I was on the ground because it was just that big and it was that fun. But it teaches you confidence in yourself and your abilities of who you can be. Because even on those days that are draining, where you're up for 18, 19, 20 hours, and you think in your mind, I can't do this, but you then keep pushing on because you have to, and it just teaches you who you are and what you're actually made of. There's nothing insurmountable odds in that in basic training, as long as you're willing to continue to drive and push forward. So hard? No. Just give it all you got and never stop, and you'll be fine. It's fun, and you'll make some of the best friends that you'll ever make in your life that you'll still know for your entire career. 6 years in the Army, and I still talk to a lot of the people that I went basic training with. Who else has questions?
What's food like in basic training?
Delicious.
Oh, good.
Delicious.
It's actually really good. So like, you know how you like see movies of like war movies, whatever, and they got their tray, or it's like a movie in prison or whatever, and they walk up and they're like, here's your lunch, and they slop like a big nasty like splooge of gray or something. Yeah, it's not like that. We get regular food just like everybody else anywhere else. In the morning you have eggs, biscuits, you know,
Bacon.
pancakes, whatever's going on. However, when I went through, we only had about 3 minutes to eat our food, so kind of got to eat fast. But now it's a little bit different. We understand it takes a little bit longer for people to digest or to eat their food real quick. But the food is actually pretty good. The best part is there's when it comes to active duty and the holidays come up. We understand because we're all brothers and sisters at arms that we might not have immediate family right, here with us, because we can be stationed just about anywhere. So we're the only family we got. So usually the dining facility will have a giant, beautiful, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, whatever dinner, whatever holiday is. Usually once a month they figure out, hey, you know what? This Friday we're having turkey. We're gonna have steak and lobster, whatever whatever we can dish up for you guys. And it'd be a big, beautiful, dinner that we can all sit down and enjoy and, tell stories and all that good stuff. So the food is not bad. It's not.
The food's delicious, and even in basic, when it's such a quick time. Anybody ever heard the phrase like "I'm so hungry I could eat a horse" or something like that, right? When you get to Chow Hall and they tell you have 10 minutes to eat, those are the best 10 minutes of your life right there, because you're gonna eat and then you're going right back out after it. And even if it's like even if you don't like any of the hot stuff, there is always peanut butter and jelly at every single meal. And anybody who ever lifted weights knows how much they love peanut butter, right? Protein packed like that, so phenomenal.
Are you not allowed to join the military if you have a mental issue and is taking medication?
So it's a tricky one, but yes, if you're currently on any medication, you cannot join at that time. So it's kind of where that falls. Am I right on the side of that?
Basically, you'd have to get cleared by your doctor of the reasons for you to get off medication, and then you can do that. So we would set up what's called a medical waiver. You get your medical documents, send it up, and then the doctor at the military entrance processing station, which is the MEPS at Fort Dix, New Jersey, will say yes or no if they want to send you up to take the There's many stipulations on what qualify and disqualify. The three biggest ones is physically, are you physically fit? Can you take the physical? Do you have any broken bones, anything like that? Mental illnesses, tuberculosis, whatever the case may be. There's the ASVAB, which is basically the test you can take to see what job you would be best at and what job would work for you. And then there's the actual part of a commitment, the enlistment. Are you committed to join and serve this country? Three main things.
What's paid like the basic training?
So pay, not bad. You start off at about $1,500 to $1,700 a month. While you're in basic training, you have no bills. You have 3 meals a day, a free place to stay, and nothing else. Like you don't pay any electric or anything like that. Everything's taken care of. When you get out of training and you go to your unit, if you're on active duty, basically it's like living in the college dorm rooms. They're called the barracks. You have a roommate. You pay no electric. You pay no water bill. Air conditioning and heat provided. Changes on obviously the time of the year. All taken care of with a free bed. The only thing you pay for within your room is if you guys choose to get like internet or cable. Only bills, your luxuries, the things that you want to have. Your cell phone. But in terms of your living quarters, everything's paid for. Thing is, you rank up in the military and your pay increases based on moving up in terms of rank and your time in service. So Sergeant Turner's been in a couple of years more than me, so he makes a little bit more than me. Even though we're at the same rank, just because he's been in longer, he gets paid more. It works, it's not just a straight across chart, it's like an up at an angle. So based on the time you're in and the rank that you go up. Within the first 2 years in the Army on the active duty side, as long as you behave and are good, you move up 3 ranks guaranteed, from Private E1 to Specialist E4, and that gap is a little over $300 per month. So you look at it, in 2 years, your pay has increased over $3,000 per year. I don't know many jobs where you can do that in 2 years and increase your pay that much, and still have everything else taken care of in terms of food, medical, dental, and all the things that go with it. Free place to live.
Will you look at your juvenile record?
Yes. The simple answer is yes. But, comma space, same as we were talking about medical, it depends. If that makes sense. We have to go through our set of things, we look at it, and based on the same thing where we would talk to the doctors, we would consult with the lawyers to say, hey, based on what this individual has done, are they qualified for service? But it's not a flat out yes or no, it's that gray area, it's not.
In a nutshell, the Army is definitely a window of opportunity that you can take advantage of and be successful. The biggest thing, does anyone know what the 4 things are right now in order to get a good job that you need? Anybody? What are they, Sergeant Gunther? Okay.
No.
So, obviously, you need experience, right? You need experience in some type of job field that you're trying to get into, right? Then there's certifications, right? All these different jobs out there, it can be anything. You need some type of certificate. Someone said they wanted to be a CDL driver or something like that. They're not just going to put you behind the wheel of a truck without your license, right? All these companies that are out there to work for, they have to pay thousands of dollars between secret security clearances, top secret security clearances, different types of training that you need for whatever type of job you're trying to do. You know, a human resource specialist can't just be, you know, I'm the HR guy just because, you know, it's the job I got. They have all this type of training. So we got experience, certifications. Next is the intangibles, which is basically values, all right, and discipline, motivation, stuff like that, all right? Does everyone in here have some type of values that they try to live by or they feel like they should live by? What's one of your values live by?
Just treat people.
Perfect. All right, so respect, more or less. All right, the Army has values as well. Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. These are all values that we live by every single day and makes us the different type of people that we are than the average bear. Yogi bear, Joe, anyways.
I got that.
All right, then last is a college degree. You want a good job, you gotta have a college degree, right? Does anyone know, or does anyone know anyone that might be pursuing a degree that's kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna get a job, or does anyone know anyone that does have a degree that they have a degree in criminal justice, right? But they can't get a job anywhere, so they're working where?
So, my little cousin, he went to Penn State, 4 years, right? He currently has debt of, I want to say, about $160,000 remaining. 4 years. The best thing he took away from Penn State, besides his diploma, was he met his fiancee, now his wife there. Moved out to California together, where she was from. But he still owes $160,000. His job, his degree, is in elementary education. He wanted to be an elementary education teacher and wanted to do, like, his dream job was to be a gym teacher, physical fitness. He loves it. He's been a gymnast his entire life. He currently works selling cleaning services to retail organizations. He is a salesman because he doesn't have the experience. Because while he was at Penn State, and all teachers do when they go through, they do like an internship while they're in college. So they get like in classes and learn what it's like. He did the middleman for that, what he had to do. He focused his other time, rather than trying to gain additional experience, on other things. He got carried away, girlfriend, a little bit of partying, fraternity, things of that. They didn't focus on his career enough. So he has no real world experience with that degree. So he's not the most marketable person. Meanwhile, all the teachers that you guys currently see in these schools have something on that, whether it's years of experience, extra, education, even post-secondary, where they've got their doctors or their masters type thing. They've continued to expand their skill set. So, and I wanted to add on what he asked earlier. So, like I said, I told you all a little bit about myself, right? That I went to juvenile detention at 17. So yes, I joined the Army with a criminal charge as a juvenile. I had an assault charge on my record, in addition to a couple of disturbing the peace charges. And I'm not afraid to admit these things. I got a disturbing the peace for every fight I was in over at Truman when I was just being a bad little punk kid. I had an assault charge for the altercation with my dad. I still was able to join. It took me a little process to, but I was able to join and being given a second chance. So the Army is definitely about giving second chances when they're due, if that makes sense.
Anyone else have any other questions or anything? Yes, ma'am.
About a diploma.
A diploma?
Can you join the military without a diploma?
You can. You can get a GED to be able to join. Sometimes the options might be a little bit more limited, but it all just depends on what you got going on.
Is that every branch of the military or just the Army?
I couldn't really be too sure. I'll be able to answer that. I'm usually not in the Navy's business too much, which
Sorry,
I should be because
I
they're competition for the most part. But yeah, I'm not too sure on how to do that.
So with the Army, you can join the Army Reserves with a GED and any score on the ASVAB. To go active duty in the Army with a GED, you need to get at least a 50 on the ASVAB. So when people ask me, I actually had a parent ask me, should my child drop out of school now so that they can join the military, so they can come to you and join the Army? I said, heck no. I said, get your high school diploma, because God forbid you don't like the Army. Even though a GED is supposed to be comparative to a high school diploma, not everyone sees it in the same light at all times. So if you can get your high school diploma, I strongly encourage you to do it. Stick through the tough times. It's not that bad in high school, I promise. I wish I could go back and relive those memories.
Thank you.
still work.
NASDAQ's not too bad. How hard was it, Grant?
It wasn't that hard. The hardest part was probably the mechanic.
Yeah, and everyone has their strong suits, you know. The biggest thing with the ASVAB, they go over math, science, English, paragraph comprehension, word knowledge. It's all like basic stuff you guys pretty much already know. The only thing that'll make you more successful when you take it is to brushing up on stuff before you get in there. Like I said, when I joined, I straight up was like, yo, I want to do this, let's take the ASVAB. I took the ASVAB without studying at all. And I went in there and got a whatever score. It's important to get a good score on the ASVAB, you know, to get in for one, but it also follows you throughout the rest of your career. I actually retook my ASVAB last year so that I had more job opportunities to get into when I was done with it. That's still pretty early.
It is. Everybody didn't have their coffee yet this morning, did they? Yeah. Understood. So come on, questions. You have an open floor with two guys who have combined 15 years in the Army. You guys must have some kind of question. Ask us about life. Anything you want to know when you get out of high school. What's it like out there? I'll tell you. I mean, please.
You guys do your own taxes and all that.
Do we do our own taxes? I mean, I took mine over to HR Block this year, but we still pay our taxes like everybody. Cool thing though, when you're on unemployment, you actually get paid extra money while you're out there. And the money you're being paid is all tax-free, so you may not have to pay taxes for 9 months and really have a nice little bank account burst, you know? So.
The stuff that seems to be happening in the news, is there a lot of fear that it could go hot at any time?
So there's always engagements throughout the world because yes, we are the United States Army. We're the biggest, more or less, fighting force in the world. However, there's a lot of stuff that goes unseen that we actually do. A lot of times, the Army gets mobilized to do any type of humanitarian aid missions, stuff like that. So we're not only just going in there, kick doors down, and all that fun stuff. We're actually doing other stuff as well. Like I said, most of my deployments, aside from training the Afghan National Police and Afghan Army, I was delivering goods and all kinds of stuff like that. And I was doing that as a military police officer. I was doing route clearance, making sure there's no IEDs on these roads with a big mine roller on the front of my truck, basically doing a combat engineer's job. Like I said, I was trained in police, I was standing guard. I was walking patrols where we're walking through villages, making sure there's no enemies in the area, more or less. So, I mean, there's basically an opportunity for anything to happen at any time. But when it comes to the question of, with everything that's going on right now, and, you know, we're doing this and we're doing that, is it scary? Of course it's always scary. I have 2 young kids that I want to watch grow up and all that fun stuff. But I'm a professional soldier. I'm a freedom fighter, you know. I'm trained to go out there and do my job, whatever I need to do. Because that's everything that you learn in basic training teaches you how to become a soldier. Right? You're going to be able to defend yourself, you're going to be able to defend your battle buddies, and you're going to be able to defend, you know, the United States and the Constitution and all that good stuff. You're going to be able to do that. You will be trained to do that. So is it scary? Absolutely. But it's not scary because I'm scared of it. It's scary because I definitely want to come home to my kids and my wife and all that stuff.
And big thing, you're asking, like Sergeant Turner's talking about some of the humanitarian stuff. Everybody remembers Hurricane Katrina a couple years back? So my old unit is actually directly responsible for a lot of the cleanup and the rebuilding out there in New Orleans after that destruction. I'm an engineer, I do construction work. My unit's been on some of the biggest hurricane relief projects in the past, 20, 30 years down in South Florida where they constantly get hit by hurricanes. Everything like that. Humanitarian work is huge, and you don't always think of that when you think of the Army. You think about fighting a war, but the things that you can do not just to defend, but to help protect and help rebuild what the country that you live in. In reference, I'll take my stab at answering the question, is it fearful? Yes, but I think what's going on currently is more of a deterrent rather than trying to escalate things. I think what we're doing is, right now, everybody here has family, right? Somebody they love, brother, sister, mom, aunt, uncle, something. If you've seen the news, you've seen, over in Syria, children of that country dying from chemical weapons released in their own country, right? I can't think of anybody that would like to see a child be killed. I can't. So I think what we're doing here is we're trying to protect the rest of the world from things of that. If they're willing to hurt their own people, they may be willing to hurt others. So what we can do to help de-escalate things before it becomes a problem, I think that's more of what it is. A phrase I love to live by is, a true soldier doesn't fight because of what he hates what's in front of him, but it's because of what he loves that's behind him.
Now, if something were to happen, do you have enough people in the reserves to work for the draft, or is that a possibility?
So basically, 2/3 of the United States Army's support, because that's what the reserves is. Reserves is support. You can't join the Army Reserves as an infantryman, armor, artillery. Reserves is all support jobs. So, for example, you have your infantry unit, that's the main element, right? You're gonna have your support soldiers to work with them. You're gonna have your commo guys, your medics, what else? Any other jobs you can
You're
think
going to
of,
call
right?
everybody in. See, the whole thing is the Army has 150 plus different jobs and they all support each other. So I do construction work, that's my job. I may never be the guy picking up the rifle returning fire, but I may be the guy that's building berms and trenches and support elements to help those guys to better provide security for them. And it's all that working as a team element that goes with that.
But as far as like the draft and all that, I mean, it would have to get pretty crazy. But what has been implemented is called the inactive ready reserve. So basically, when you sign your contract, it can be anywhere from 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 6 years. All right, you have what's called an 8-year military service obligation. All right, so say Sergeant Huffer just joined the Army today for a 2-year active duty contract. He'll have 4 years reserve contract after he finishes active duty, and then the remainder of his contract is what he's going to be in what's called the inactive ready reserve. To where if there was a draft or something like that, they'll say, hey, Sergeant Huffer, you know, it's been 3 months since you've been out, but we need you. He's already trained. He's a trained professional already. You know, it saves time, money, and makes a more efficient fighting force than to bring up a draft where there's people in there that don't even want us either.
And what still makes our Army better than the rest of the world is because we haven't had to use the draft for over 40 years, since the Vietnam era. Because we have the makeup of this country based on all volunteer fighting force. Everybody that currently serves in any branch of the military has voluntarily been there. They actually ask you on the day of enlistment. I watched yesterday, and the officer who swore the group in said, has anybody forced you to be here today? And nobody could answer yes, because no one was forced there. It's something that makes us so credible and strong, is that it's people willing to give a little bit of who they are to better support their country.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Is that a hand?
Oh. So, I missed some. Does pay go up if you're in a combat zone?
Yes.
We touched on that a little bit. Tax, just to reemphasize, you do get a pay based on where you're at, and it's all tax-free while you are down on a deployment zone.
Touch on the importance of maybe pre-studying to take your ASVAB.
Right. So we actually have a website that has been generated through the Army called marchtosuccess.com. Did you use that for your ASVAB?
No.
No? Okay. So some people use it, some people don't, but it's completely free. You sign up for it. And is anyone planning on taking the SATs or ACTs, anything like that? Yeah? Okay, good. So you can use this program. It's free. It's going to help you prepare for it. This also helps you prepare for the ASVAB. So if military service is something you're thinking about, you get on the website for free, put a little time into it, because nothing's free in life, right? You got to pay something, right? You got to put some effort into it. Get your study on, and it'll help you get a better score, whether you're taking your SATs, your ACTs, your ASVAB, whatever the case may be. But it's definitely a good tool that actually works. We've had people that get a 18 on the ASVAB, which is in a percentile, so they scored 18%, right? And they went and studied the March to Success website for 2-3 weeks, whatever the case may be, or even a couple days, and they scored 20 plus points higher. It's definitely a good tool to use. I personally used it to study a little bit for myself. Like I said, when I retook my ASVAB, and the program that I was in before to retake my ASVAB, they used a lot of the same stuff that's on the March to Success website. It's definitely a good tool, especially if you're struggling in school and you can't get that much time from you know, your teachers, whatever the case may be, for whatever reason, you want to do some self-development, jump on there and look into it for yourself. It's like I said, you're not going to be better for yourself unless you're putting some effort towards it, right? It's not just going to happen. It happens for some people, but you think famous baseball players, basketball players became great just overnight? No, they spent the time, you know,
Except for AI, he
shooting
hated practice.
over, you know, the weekend and all that good stuff.
And only like 2 people even know who Allen Iverson is at this point.
Yes.
How do you think technology is changing in the face of the military? Like, there's going to be a point when people can come, when people will be able to go to war and then be home to eat dinner with their kids.
I mean, technology field as a whole is the fastest growing part of the Army right now. It's the most rapidly expanding. There's intelligence jobs, computer jobs, everything. It shapes the battlefield now. I mean, you have UAV pilots that are out there, you know, they're sitting behind a computer screen with a joystick, flying something from miles and miles away. And, you know, no imminent danger in that sense. So, the thing is, technology continues to evolve to give us the best possible chance. I mean, and it's at every level. It's not just computers and radios and stuff like that. As you can think on everything, even down to a basic M4, the type of scope that they put onto it, where, you know, a standard iron sight scope, most people can generally hit anything from 50 up to 300 meters. With that, you put the right type of scope on it, you can even farther. You can see that 300-meter target like it was between me and Officer Yeager. It looks like it's that close. So anything that continues to develop and evolve to better assist the soldiers in any shape of the war, in a sense, any type of environment, it makes it safer and more practical for them.
But yes, technology is definitely changing, and it's a giant part of the United States Army right now, that's for sure.
So in the Army, like here in police work, you have to follow the rules, you're given orders, you have to follow orders. So I know in my place, there have been people who have been in charge of me that really should have not had rank, but you have to follow the orders. Is that also the same in the military, where you may come across someone who you don't think is the best qualified to be a leader or doesn't know how to be a leader? They tell you to do something, you can't question it, you just have to do it. Is that fair?
So 3 things to follow. Is the order lawful? Is it moral? And is it legal? Show of hands here, honestly. Who ever had a boss or a teacher that they really just didn't like?
Oh, we finally got
Exactly. Now, see, I got participation. I put teachers in there because I know every kid's got one. So that's the thing. We all, through work or through school or through sleep, we have our people that we just don't like, right? So who has somebody, though, in life that they really do like, that they really try to model themselves after? They think they're a good person, they can teach them something. So that, consciously, we try to mold ourselves to be like those people, right? We see, wow, they inspire me to be great. I want to be like that. Subconsciously, though, every one of you that raised your hand from somebody you don't like has learned something. You've learned what you don't want to be. You've learned the things you say, I don't like how they do that. I don't like how they talk to me. I don't like how they treat me. So subconsciously, you're in the back of your mind, when you're now going to be in that position years down the line, you're going to say, you know, I remember how that jerk treated me. I'm not going to do that to those guys underneath me. So occasionally, yeah, you do have to, you know, bite your tongue. Sergeant Turner outranks me. If Sergeant Turner says, Sergeant Huffer, I need you to go take all the vehicles, get the trucks filled up, and bring them back here. There's 5 other guys, but he told me I'm doing it by myself. It's a lawful order. I'm going to execute because Sergeant Turner outranks me. May not be the favorite decision of mine, but I'm going to do it. Maybe down the line when I have to do, I'm in his shoes, and same thing, and I have 10 trucks and I have 5 guys, maybe I'll send all 5 of them so they only have to do 2 each instead of 1 guy moving all 10 trucks. Things like that. You just kind of learn how you're going to become you as that leadership position.
Is it like very possible to, like, once you get in the military, to rank up as a leader, like, over time and get it and maybe upgrade your pay or like your say and like what goes down wherever you're stationed?
As long as you're not getting in trouble, E1 through E4, which is the junior enlisted, is automatic. So within 24 months, you can be an E4. And with the time in service and time in grade, your pay goes up. After that, it's up to you and your leadership for you guys to work together for you in order to be able to become a non-commissioned officer, a sergeant, a corporal, you know,
Staff sergeant.
staff sergeant. You have to work hard to be able to move up because the Army is not, they don't want someone that's not qualified to be in positions. Sometimes that does happen, that it has to be that way, but they want someone that's qualified. So as long as you're motivated and you put in the work, you will get promoted. It'll happen. It can be hard, but depending on the decisions you make, and like I said, staying out of trouble and all that good stuff, you can get there. Getting promoted is more responsibility, it's more pay.
So next week, Monday, Sergeant Turner officially becomes Staff Sergeant Turner. He got selected for promotion last week when the promotion list comes out for Sergeant and Staff Sergeant. And that's a whole process you go through. But you have to go through in front of a promotion board where you have to answer questions and show that you're ready to take that next step as a leader. Then you got to go to a school called Advanced Leader Course. Sergeant Turner graduated a little while ago. Then there's a whole point structure system you have to make a cutoff. And the way it's done is to put the top qualified people in that spot based on how well you work with your weapon, your physical stamina, what you're doing education both in the military and in the civilian world. How can you increase your competitive strategies? Sergeant Turner, his job was very high to get him selected, and he was at the top of his list to do that. You know, Sergeant Turner scores on what, 290 something on the PT test every time. Qualified with a 39 out of 40 on his weapon recently. You know, does everything he can to better himself. That's why he made promotion. So that's how it goes. Those first 4 ranks, they're gimmies. 4 tricks, right place, right time, right uniform with a good attitude, and you'll go to E4. From there, you have to be willing to work a little harder, and you'll go quick. Because at that 2-year mark, you can start getting ready to go to be a sergeant. You just have to show your leaders that you're ready to take that next step. So Monday, he's going to get promoted to Staff Sergeant. Wednesday, I'm going to the promotion board so that I can get started and get looking out for Staff Sergeant. Probably be a few months till I really get through school and get everything, but hopefully by the end of the year, I'll start to be able to get a real look for Staff Sergeant, increase my responsibility and my pay and everything on that sense. So as long as you're willing to work hard, you can do pretty much, your opportunities are unlimited in the military.
As an enlisted, how high can you go?
Sergeant, Command Sergeant Major, or even if you're one of the elite Sergeant Major in the Army. There's been, how many have 15 now? Yeah. But making it all the way up to Command Sergeant Major, where you're in charge of a battalion level or brigade level or even higher. Baseline battalion Sergeant Major is generally in charge of like 700 to 800 people, give or take in a battalion, where your sole job is to take care of your people at all levels and make sure these people know what's going on and their well-being and their safety. And the pay rapidly increases for that because it's a very, I won't want to say stressful job, but it is. It's a job where you're in charge of so many people's lives and well-being and their development. The big thing, Sergeant Turner, when I got to the unit here back in December, he pulled me aside and told me, hey, this is what you're going to need to do to be successful up here. He didn't have to do that, but he took that upon himself to say, hey, this is what I've seen, this is what I think is going to help you, and it's done me wonders. I mean, this week alone, I have 2 of your fellow students in Pennsbury enlisting in the United States Army because of some of the things Sergeant Turner has taught me. So, it's being that leader and taking care of people. It shows you that you're going to be that next good leader.
Any other questions?
Quiet group. Except for you.
So real quick, because we're going to wrap up in a couple minutes, can you tell me, I missed, you tell them about your job, where you're going to go to in August, and what your job will entail, and then also what your job was prior to coming into recruiting.
Okay. So like I said, I enlisted as a military police officer in the United States Army. That was the job that I chose, that I got qualified to do. And basically, my job entails anything involving law enforcement on a military installation. So I can be sitting there behind a patrol car, pulling people over for running stop signs, red lights, you name it. I can be responding to DUIs, domestic violence, you name it. My duty is exactly what Officer Yeager does here in the civilian sector, but I'm doing it on a military installation. Now, yeah, it can get kind of crazy because, you know, I'm pulling over, you know, trained killers, you know, and telling them, hey man, you know, you're swerving around back there, what's going on with you? You know, so that can get pretty hairy, especially responding to like a domestic violence. I have the opportunity right now to be able to go to be stationed in Okinawa, Japan with my family, so my whole family's gonna go over there with me. I still gotta make a decision if that's somewhere where I need to go, but it's an opportunity that the Army's gonna give me. I never thought ever that I'd be living on a tropical island in another country and getting paid to do it, but it's an opportunity that I can take advantage of.
So before I was in recruiting, I've been down in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. It's the most populated Army base in the world, second biggest space-wise. I'm a construction engineer, so all the stuff that's on 95 that's never fixing it, it should be, I can work that stuff, and I'd like to fix 95 because I hate Philly traffic. Before that, I was just like it was new when I got to my unit. I got there, learned some of the equipment. And when I got there, first thing they said, how would you feel about jumping out of an airplane? And what? And they said, yeah, you want to go airborne? You want to jump out of a plane? Okay, sure, why not? They paid me an extra $150 a month to go to airborne school and learn how to jump out of a plane. So the whole thing my unit used to specialize in is we would actually rig up our own engineering equipment, bulldozers, cranes, different type of pieces like that. We would put them in the back of a C-17 on a pallet, and we would throw them out of an airplane with parachutes. And then we would circle around, and then we would jump out of the planes, de-rig the equipment, and we would start fixing the airfield and craters and different things like that so that the C-130 or C-17s could land without the plane tipping over or diving into the sand, the dirt, because it was all a dirt airfield. You know, we think of the airport, we think of these nicely smooth paved runways. Got to improvise in different places, so our whole thing was getting out, and we had about 8 hours, give or take, to fix a crater that could be about the size of this whole ruby right here. And you have maybe 15 people working on that with X amount of equipment in limited time. But we bonded as the team to do those type of things work. And coolest feeling in the world, jumping out of an airplane and being paid to do it. So.
One last question. Are you concerned going to Okinawa with the situation in North Korea that you may simply be able to live only on the base and not leave the base? And is that a concern?
That can always be a concern. And like we were saying before, that can be kind of scary to think about. But I feel that whatever happens, we'll have, us being trained professionals to be able to figure it out. And if we do got to stay on, the installation, that's still fine. We're still in Japan, it'll still work out.
Still living a great life,
Yeah.
having fun.
Any last minute questions for us?
Alright. Thank you guys for having us today.
Thank you guys for your respect for this.